All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Kitsukune channel. This is your lovely hostess back with an episode of Shenanigan Frenzy with friends. Um, we have a couple of people who are back from the last couple of streams, and a newcomer as well. So let's go through the list. Of course, you have me, your lovely hostess, Kitsukune. To my right, we have the Royal Beardo, both here on Twitch and YouTube. Um,
Ye-
Above him is my boyfriend Halo Dude, or Henry as I yell at him. He is currently not at his computer, but you may hear him chatting in the distance to his roommate, so he'll be. What do you mean disconnected, OBS? Okay. Sorry, my computer's acting weird. Um. Anyway, uh. So, right next to him we have the love. Am I calling you Shino? Am I calling you Fiona? Which do you prefer?
Fiona, it's fine.
Alright, we have Fiona, who is Shalgale's waifu.
Alright,
Um,
sorry about that.
Hi.
Welcome back, Bebe. Right above her we have Thomas, who joined us last time, also known as, I can't
Hi.
believe you have to make me say this each time, the fuzzy pink strap on here on Twitch. um, Next to him we have the Driving Dark Rage, who may or may not talk through this. We're not sure yet. We'll see. Um,
I'll put in my 2 cents every now and then.
Oh,
we like
okay.
that. We like 2 cents. It can build up. Above him
Not as
we
good as
have
5 cents,
the
though.
lovely, the fabulous Starry Dragon 9. Look at her with her
Okay.
adorable little avatar. And then right
When
next
you
to
gonna-
her
when you
we
actually
have
gonna get a thing that gives you ears like that.
next to her, of course, we have Xiaogale. Last but
Okay, I'll just
certainly
be
not
ignored, that's
least,
fine.
I was in the middle of introductions, baby. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
put your time
goodness. When
out.
she slaps you, it's going to be hilarious.
Kind of waiting for that to happen.
I know, right?
Y'all
You
don't
can't
see
slap
what
her
goes on.
significant
Y'all
other.
don't see
That's
what goes on in
illegal.
the background.
Oh
Alright.
boy.
All right, so as posted on Twitch and on the
I
title
didn't
of the
give an
video when it
intro.
goes. Yes, you
So
did.
it's
You
not
were away from
on
your
my mic for
computer.
it? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't get to hear my.
I called you my lovely boyfriend
Wah,
Halo
wah.
Dude, who's also known as
Hey.
Henry, who's currently away from his computer because he's yelling at his husband.
I was on the phone with my grandma.
How was I supposed to know? You didn't say
I said
anything.
it. I said, "Oh fuck, I need to go. I forgot to call my grandma."
I heard you. I thought it was bizarre because it's so late.
She's up actually quite late. She doesn't go to bed till like 11.
Anyways.
Yeah. So this week's episode 3 of the Shenanigan Frenzy podcast, is about open world action RPG games. And we're just gonna kind of discuss a couple of different items about several different games. We're gonna talk about the games that are in the genre that many people know about and have played. Maybe bring up a couple that some people know, some people don't know. Older games, newer games, all that stuff. Games we may or may not be excited for. And we have, towards the end of this, a lovely surprise for you all. Just keep your eyes opened and ears
Surprises.
listen, your ears on as well while we
I
go
know what
through
the
everything.
surprise is.
Hush, Henry, or you will be disconnected, my love.
That's so
Um,
rude.
Well, don't be a brat.
I am not.
Baby
Alright.
girl.
So who wants to start this shindig off?
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about what is an open world action RPG?
I like that. Let's start.
That's probably a good way to start it because then we can do
Stop
that.
licking my desk, cat. Go. Sorry.
So you're fine. So a open world action RPG is a RPG or role playing game that you get to follow as far as video game that allows you to have a plot that gives you a concentrated way of actually following the particular storyline, but gives you the mechanics of being able to go anywhere that you want in that world within reason. So examples of that are a really old example of that at this point is actually Skyrim, for example, or some of the original Dungeons and Dragons games that came out for PC way back when. Um, that give you the ability to kind of flexibly go wherever you want in the map and do whatever you want within that period, but give you the ability to also run into quests that you might not otherwise find.
Sorry, I was taking a drink.
What do they consider one of the first open world games ever created and released?
Ever created? Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
I have no idea.
It's gotta
That
be
actually
something like
Hint.
Atari, right?
Hint. A sequel was just released.
Really?
Breath of the Wild?
No.
Oh,
I said
Zelda.
Legend of Zelda.
Zelda is one of the earliest open world games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
That is actually one.
Link's
Yeah.
Awakening or
Zelda
whatever
is
the fuck it was
one.
called.
Yep.
I didn't even
Um,
think about the OG Zeldas being open world, but yeah, they absolutely count in that situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at Zelda breaking the fourth.
The original was just literally called just Legend of Zelda.
I think so.
And then I think after that was Link's Awakening, wasn't it?
Legend of Zelda: The Adventures of Link was the second one.
They were all NES and SNES games.
Mhm.
Obviously, they were a lot more limited in what they could offer you in an open
Yeah.
world game, where you could go what
Definitely.
you could do.
Very true.
Total file size
That's true.
6 megabytes.
If that.
If that.
I mean, I mean, another one is actually Elder Scrolls. Some of the older Elder Scrolls games are also one of the
Let's see what the,
first ones that you had that
total
gave you that.
file size.
Oh wow. Oh, holy
Original.
shit. Now I'm thinking about it. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
See,
Alright.
You
wait,
go
that
first,
can't
Mary.
be right.
I was just gonna ask, since we started on the Legend of Zelda, should we continue with that?
Sure, it's fucking run hand first. I will say this now, just for a note. Anything that we
So-
talk about in this will not be a spoiler. We will not be
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about spoilers in any of the games we are talking about.
Aw.
We will not be talking about in-game content
So-
whatsoever. Even if the game has been out for a couple of years, I am not going to take away the aspect of a first time viewing for
So
this.
to go back to the thing we were just talking about, I grossly overestimated the original file size of Legend of Zelda for the NES 1986 was 128 kilobytes.
Damn.
So
sounds about right.
about half a megabyte.
Damn.
Given the limitations that the NES had at that time, I cannot say that I'm not surprised.
Less than 1 megabyte.
So yeah,
What were the other ones?
let's just go down the fucking
Adventure of
topic
Link
of
was 256 kilobytes. Link to the Past, 1 megabyte.
that's
Link's
weird to think of
Awakening.
how big or small the games used to be compared to now, because what the new Legend of Zelda game is absolutely massive at this point.
It is
I mean, even
massive.
Ocarina of Time was only 16 megs. 16 megabytes, that's it.
Remember, some of these games
Oh,
came out at the
sorry.
same.
I misspoke. Originally planned to be 16 megabytes, ended up being 32.
Mind you that some of these games came out when floppy disks were still technology. So
I remember
True.
floppy disks.
Yeah. They held a maximum of what, 8 megabytes or something like that?
Floppies? No, 1.5.
Oh.
Yeah, depending.
Not even. It was technically 1.44.
The times when you had to
Hell,
play
even
games
Wind
with
Waker
that,
was
you had to
just over a
switch
gig.
things out.
Ocarina of Time is still near and dear to my heart, but it's kind of difficult
Oh.
to think of it as open world. I mean, it had a field area, but
Damn.
you didn't really get to make a lot of choices
So
about
even
where you went or what you encountered.
It was also compared to Majora's Mask. It was much more linear in Ocarina of Time. With what you had to do. Whereas, like, Majora's Mask, don't get me wrong, you had to go down a certain path to do certain things, but you could go out and do all the side quests you wanted resetting the days over and over in whatever order you fucking wanted it in, as long as you had the items for it.
So, even Twilight Princess, a GameCube game, is just over a meg, 1.2. Or sorry, just one over a gig. Excuse me, 1.2 gigs. And that was a GameCube game.
That also
mean-
makes sense given the size of the
Uh,
discs for the GameCube.
I mean, keep in
See
mind, like
here.
even like when you start talking about it, DVDs were very limited on space. CDs were very limited on space.
Yeah.
A lot
And
of these
Breath of the
games came out
Wild, as
before
big
those
as
were
that game
even
is 13.4 gigs.
Yeah, because it's
I-
designed for handheld.
And then you play a game like Modern Warfare that's like 300 gigs.
Yeah.
Or five, no,
Yeah.
sorry, it's like 600.
Well, I think a lot of that is particle effects too.
Also,
keep
a lot
in
of it is
mind,
people
yeah.
reusing code because they don't know how to optimize anything.
Yes,
True.
the double encoded games that are so much fun for so
Like
many
Ark,
other
it
reasons.
was like 3
Ah,
terabytes just downloaded.
no, don't even go there. That's a painful reminder for right now. I'm gonna remind you. Stop. We aren't going to get on that tangent.
Let's rein this thing in from size of the game per se, and more of what goes on in the game. So
Right. A lot
There's
of what
al-
affects the size is the textures and other things that make it look like what
Mhm.
it is. But what makes
That's
it
true.
open world is more about, the wireframing of the game's plot and structure.
polygons.
What choices can the
was-
player make to play their game?
Oh yeah, and Breath of
Yeah.
the Wild
I'll take
in
that off.
fashion is like fucking simp. Anyway, Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild is absolutely like once you finish that tutorial thing and you can get off the island, because you have to do the tutorial and no matter what game you're in. Some of them are 5 minutes long, some of them can be an hour long. It takes it takes a bit for you to get off the. Excuse me, it takes a bit for you to get off that tutorial
Sorry.
thing. But once you're off it, I mean, fuck, people do speed runs where they go to Ganon as quickly as they can with as little as they can, and just fuck shit
True.
over.
Yeah.
That's true.
But then you can make the game easier if you turn around and you go and do all the divine beast, or you can fuck around and you can build a whole ass village.
By the way, Beardy didn't know about that. I told him about that the other day. or yesterday.
Really?
one? Build the
Building
village?
town.
Oh yeah.
Building. You didn't know about that?
No.
That was always one of the first things I did in that game.
I love doing Terrytown. But yeah, no. Breath
Yeah,
of the
never did
Wild.
that.
Breath of the Wild, it was the only other Zelda game that I really played. Yeah, no, I haven't played any other Zelda ones. Was Ocarina of Time. And
Did
while
you
I
beat it?
loved that one, yes, I did beat it.
Okay. I know. I think I've told you guys, but
Hold on,
I
baby,
know
don't
I
interrupt.
haven't.
Hold on, wait.
Oh, sorry. I thought you was done.
You're okay, Henry. But Breath of the Wild, my best friend Kitsukune,
Stop.
let me borrow her game, and I was fucking immersed in that game. I loved that game. I've always loved Zelda. I just never really had the consoles to play it on. Minus like Ocarina.
She still
And
has
so-
the game, by the way.
Sorry.
Because I'm at the point where I have to buy my own because she won't give it
You
back.
won't give it back.
Oh
No,
no.
I gave it back. I just took it back like a week or so ago so I could replay it quickly before
I
Tears of
didn't
the
have
Kingdom.
it for more than a week and a half, woman.
No, you had it for a while.
Maybe 2 weeks at max.
No,
Oof.
Here you
you
go.
had it
I'm
Oh, by the
also
way,
just
Winnie's back.
teasing you, Mary, because I really don't care. Henry, what
But
were
yeah.
you
God.
saying?
I was gonna say that I think I told a lot of you this story. I don't know about everybody. When I was playing Ocarina of Time, I got to I think it was a water temple, so I was like a good 2/3 to 3/4 the way through the game. And I was playing this on the N64, so I'm sitting there playing
Yep.
around. I'm like, yeah, it's so much fun. And one of my sister's friends was walking in front of the TV, and she tripped over the cord for the
I
for the
remember
controller,
you
and
Oh.
my game froze. I was like, ah, shit. So I'm like, well, they went like, a little, since I last saved or whatever. So I turned it off, turned it back on, and I went to load it up, and it said game file corrupted. Please delete, and I had to start over.
Yep.
That is
I remember hearing
always
about that.
that is always the most painful thing in the world is when you get that
Yeah.
particular message.
And I was like, God damn it.
I mean, I think some of them too, like some of the things that are are really, really fun about open world RPGs is that playing, it's one of those things where there's always a lot to discover and a lot of content that you find. So they do if the game does it well enough, you'll get multiple layers for it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, there's. I'm sorry.
like right now I'm playing Star Rail is the newest one that I've added to my roster, and I've become a trash panda because of that particular reason. I have been looking in every single trash can I can find. I am a raccoon at this point.
Shiny.
Look, they sparkle and then you get stuff out of them.
Like
That's pretty much a very thoroughly adopted mechanic of any open world action RPG, well, any open world RPG in general. The only way to really get by and survive is to become a loot goblin, or as you put it, a trash panda.
Well, there's also
Huh.
there's a balance to that. There's like if there's not enough, then your players get bored. But if there's too much, then you get Breath of Wild, where you have to get was it like 900 of those stupid seeds to increase your inventory.
I've never gotten 900.
Neither did
And
I.
there's like 400 temples. Like cut that number in half.
But it's
Game.
very much the thrill of the adventure too, though. I mean, one of our favorite stories in this household concerns my wife and her
No.
first
no.
experience. Oh yes, throwing you right under
no.
that
Oh
bus,
God.
right
Here
under
you
those wooden wagon wheels.
Dang it.
Yeah,
Dang it.
right after fleeing from the dragon in the beginning of Skyrim. Most people, myself included, they at least start following your red or blue suited guy down the mountain, right?
Down
Most
into
of us at
Riften.
least. Yeah, most of us at least make it to your first safe house
not.
before deciding to go off the rails. But not my lovely wife. No,
Ah.
she missed the train station altogether, right? I'm in the
Oh,
woods.
no.
There's stuff everywhere. I can pick these flowers. And I don't know what happened, guys. Like I can't tell you the entire story. It was kind of like, going out and finding a feral child is one day I walked into the living room and I swear to you, I look at the TV and I find this I'm looking at this what were you a
Widow.
Dunmer, yeah, or a Bosmer wearing forsworn armor, and if you remember, it basically looks like it's been pieced together from skins and teeth, with the hair looking like it's never seen a hairbrush, with this bow and arrow just crouching on the screen, looking like, "Eh?" And like she's been living in the woods, predating on anything that moves. She's
not-
never been to
Oh
Riften.
my
She's
God.
or to White Run. She's never been to
Oh God.
Dragonborn. What's that?
Oh my God.
Completely off the grid.
That
She's
was
not. So she's not.
amazing.
Oh my God. She's not wrong. So she literally walks in to me and she's just like, "What are you crouching down? Like, what are you doing? What are you aiming at?" And you know how every time you take that shot, you get the epic music whenever you headshot something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All of a
Or at
sudden, it
least the
starts
kill cam.
playing, and she just watches this body tumble from like 50 fucking miles down the goddamn hallway, and she's just like, "How the fuck did you see that?" And I'm just like, I have 25 hours in this game, and I haven't even got my first dragon soul. And she's just like, "What the actual fuck have you been doing?" I'm like, I've been
This.
killing deer, and I found this forsworn camp." She's like, "Up north?" I'm like, yeah." She's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Well, they're all dead."
Walk in. Hasn't even been to Riften.
God.
Ebony armor.
Yeah, like basically, she just completely off the rails, guys. Like
Yeah, I
she
can't
didn't.
even remember. Yeah.
She hasn't seen a human that she killed in this game.
That is not true. I have
Look,
rescued
they
plenty
have
of
my word
villagers.
for it. All right.
Oh.
I have 110% taken care of multiple villagers and their problems at that point, but I could
But do
not
you
find
speak English? Like, do you know how to communicate
no.
with anything other than your
Speaking of
bow?
Unga Bunga.
No, I don't know. Does killing a frost giant in front of them count?
You know what? I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Oh God.
But yes, that's my favorite Skyrim story from this house, and it was very much to me like the essence of a demonstration of the world is so open, you ain't got to do shit if you don't want to. You literally don't even have to plot.
Oh god, yeah. I finally went to Whiterun. I did finally go to Whiterun, and they're just like, "Go up the mountain." I'm just
Nah,
like, that's
she went
really
right off the
tall.
rails again, I think.
That's really tall, and I could legitimately
She doesn't like heights.
go somewhere else. So I'm just gonna like trek my happy ass over here and find a
Or I
horse.
could not do that.
Exactly what that turned into.
See, it's interesting because like I
Ah.
got into Skyrim, and I tried to play for maybe an hour, and I just could not get into the fucking game whatsoever.
Maybe you should also go off the rails. Give it a try. Maybe just give it a shot.
Oh gosh.
So what I'm
I
hearing is I need to
tried
play
and
the
tried.
Shally way.
I couldn't find anything. I didn't know where I was.
Who's
I
gonna
just
stop
ignored the
you? The
map.
police
I mean,
cannot
yeah.
stop you.
Stop! You have violated the law.
Brotherhood in the meantime.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't do a single piece of that
Who are
main
these
plot.
assholes? I'm just gonna kill them.
The hell
Look,
is what the hell
Look,
is,
I
is a word of
legitimately
power?
okay. Oh no, I killed so many. No joke. As soon as I killed that first dragon, I literally just went around killing dragons. Like I didn't have a dang clue what I was doing. Then I'm like, hey, another one's descending from the sky. Hi, you gonna be my friend? You're not my friend. Okay, let's
Shally
go.
is the reason they were extinct.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's kind of how it went.
Having
I
all
tried.
these dragon souls and not knowing what to do with them.
No, because you can get the world powers directly from tombs. Yeah, like half of my powers came from the fact that I was reading Dunmer language. Ah. Yeah, okay. I am. I know I am.
Shally breaks games, but in a whole
It's a
different
one-track
situation.
mind.
Why is everyone?
No, it's not. It's
when
a
you
squirrel
actually
mind.
do go up the mountain, why is everyone complaining about this frost troll here? He's not that tough. I'm only level 145.
Okay, look, my sneak by the time I finally went up that mountain, I think was like maxed out at 75. So like literally I just like crept my way happily past everything because I was just not having any of it. Like I'd actually gotten like a good enough horse that I just rode up that mountain. And then they're just like, you have to do the thing. I'm just like, wow, that's really gross. So can I like
normally
expedite
that
this?
frost troll is like a mini boss at your current level.
Oh, when you're
Yeah,
first
no.
starting out and go up
Yeah,
that
because
mountain
you're supposed
the
to be
first
level
time.
like 6 when you go up there.
Yeah.
Oh
that
god,
frost
yeah,
troll
no.
still kicks your ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Level 25 when I finally went to go kill that first dragon.
Fuck. No, I
Right.
understand the squirrel thing because I do that in Zelda. I'm just like, okay, I see a tower. I'm headed for it. Ooh, shiny
And then
over
something
here.
else. Yep.
Ooh, I found
That
a
is
shrine over
me
here.
the entirety of this new game since I've gotten off of the fucking tutorial area. I
Mm.
Tears of the
got
Kingdom, yeah.
so fucking distracted just running around trying to figure out where the fuck I was. Hey Dark. Just trying to figure out where the fuck I was at the opening of everything. And I was just like, oh, there's a main story quest? Oops.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I can't even talk. That's me in Star Rail. I just finally completed the first world that they're like, hey, you gotta do this thing in. And I'm just like, but there's something shiny over here, and there's something shiny over here.
And see,
and there's
another
something else
game
over
that is
here.
really
Oh, yeah.
bad with that for me, fucking Horizons. Both the first game and the second game. I haven't beaten the second game much to somebody's annoyance. But I did beat the first game.
Somebody.
And anytime there was a sparkly thing on anything, I remember Henry looking at my inventory after this. Anytime I saw something sparkly, I was like, oh, I'll pick it up. I had maybe how many different items of...
In the first game, when you can't send stuff to your stash, she had like 15 stacks of Ridgewood. I'm like, get rid.
Wow. No,
You
I'm
don't
looking
need
at
6,000 Ridgewood. You need like
You don't
500.
know. You
just
don't know.
just out of took a look at what Nintendo friends I have that are online. There are 6 of them.
All of them playing
Oh
Tears of the
my.
Kingdom.
No, one of them's playing Skyrim. The other 5 are playing Tears of the
I'm on a Switch. It
funny.
doesn't have the processing power for that
Oh
game.
god.
It does decently well, actually. I've got it on the Switch.
I actually saw a video earlier of somebody like looking at their friends Nintendo Online friends and like they're like, I wonder what all my friends are playing, and it was like all Tears of the Kingdom besides one, and it said like Mario Party, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh god.
But
Ostracize them quickly.
We do have somebody in chat, Dark Nevermore Gaming, who says Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain was my favorite RPG open world. I've never played
That
any
one is a
Metal
good
Gear
one.
game,
I've not
so
played any Metal
I
Gears.
can't
I've not
say-
beaten Phantom Pain, but I've played a fair bit of it. I agree. That one is
Yeah.
a pretty solid game. Yeah,
It really does let you approach every mission however
Right.
you
Are
believe.
you
I
saying
hate
it's
myself for
Metal
that.
Solid?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've only played some of the older.
Every time I look at you, you make mine.
Oh.
Oh
Yes.
god.
I'm really glad that he put
Anyways, yeah, I've only played some of the older Metal Gear Solid games, so I haven't had a chance to play that one, unfortunately.
Even the older games are pretty wild about like, oh, you have to like read the manual to figure out you have like a drug in your tooth, so when you fake die here, you take it, so you go to the next part of it. It's like, what the fuck? Convoluted
Okay.
as shit.
There was
I mean,
one
I'm.
game
I
was
am the
playing-
hoarder in
oh,
games.
sorry.
No, you're okay. I mean, I'm 100% a hoarder when it comes to games like that, and that I.
There was a
Mary has
convoluted
seen my
puzzle I had to
shame.
solve like that. It was, I think it was Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. It was a DS game,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
and there was a part where you had to like, so you were looking at a map, but you couldn't take it with you, so you had to like find a way to copy down or whatever. The solution to the puzzle was to close the DS, therefore pressing the top screen to the bottom screen, imprinting the map onto the other side.
Oh,
That's actually
that's
genius.
lucky. That's
That's
amazing.
That's
I have seen a
ingenious.
few games on the DS do that. They had some unique ways of working with the DS.
I miss the
On
Okay,
some of
we'll
those
have to
games.
bring. We'll go back to a Nintendo thing later.
Oh my gosh.
You know, this is gonna be funny because with what you were saying, how like you're a hoarder in games, the Tears of the Kingdom game, I started like hoarding shit, and I'm like, I don't want to sell it. I might need it later.
Oh yeah,
I've-
some of the stuff that I would
Ah.
normally sell in Breath of the Wild, I just don't sell anymore because
know.
now
I use it on
they
my
have so many more
arrows.
uses.
I use it on my arrows, and that's about
Arrows, weapons, what have you. Just I seen this one video which was kind of scary to look at. I know there's one posted on the Chaos Chief channel or server, I think, where somebody attached a gunpowder barrel basically to a boomerang
Oh
and threw it,
no.
and it came back and
Oh
got
my
him.
god.
My
Oh.
God.
Oh
But there was another
no.
one that I'd seen that one shot killed a moblin. I can't remember what was on it, but I think I saw it on my
Oh my
TikTok
God,
somewhere.
does that
I'd
mean
have to
in
take a look.
theory you can find something strong enough to one shot or at least half shot a fucking Lionel? Dude,
Probably.
I have
You could probably
experiments
take
to
a
do later.
bomb flower, attach it to a spear, and throw the spear,
Oh wow.
and you could
Yeah,
probably
but
get
see,
anything
Lionels are
that
also
way.
smart, and I feel like they're
True.
gonna shoot the bomb arrow before I can fucking throw it.
But yeah,
I
I've
mean-
become a fucking hoarder in that game.
Okay,
Hmm.
so
just mine.
we are going to go
That's
ahead
a
and take our
benefit.
very first intermission real fast for people that need to go potty or anything. I'm gonna run a quick ad break, kind of recenter us back on to the topic and go to the next game. I will see all of you in about a minute.
For the intermission music, we should play. But you didn't play the saxophone.
All right, we are back. Hello, everybody, and hello to the viewers that we currently have.
Beardy's mama fell
So,
asleep.
oh, Shao, your character model is acting up for a
I
second.
know. I'm sitting down again, so I'm sorry about that.
It like
Oh, gosh.
T-posed or something for a second there.
It was
Oh, did
it was
it?
because I was standing up, so it's trying to track where my face was, but yeah. Okay.
So we are back from our little quick potty break. And for those that are
I
watching the
peed really
stream,
fast.
I know the stream is acting a little weird right now. For some reason, I cannot fix it. If it does act up, both Shadowgale and Starry Dragon 9 are also streaming this. If all fails, I will be abandoning the stream and going just to recording this so I can post it to YouTube and other places for my podcast later. Just so everyone
Are we
has that
putting the
note.
podcast in iTunes?
No.
No.
I don't like Apple products.
Doesn't mean you can't put that. There's people who do like Apple products
No.
can hear our shit.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
You're cutting off a market.
so I don't care. Anyway, we are now gonna shift our focus from Zelda, and we're gonna go a little bit deeper into the. I'm gonna say not darker, but like more sci-fi and fantasy shit. Somebody mentioned Mass Effect earlier. Who wants to begin that conversation? I've only just begun Mass Effect, so I really can't talk much about it.
Mass Effect is
I mean-
fantastic. One of my
Yeah,
favorite
really
series
is.
ever made.
I mean, it's an amazing series. Like it absolutely is. Bee's not back, but she'll be able to talk a lot about Andromeda, which is probably their largest open world expansion. As far as like that particular piece, because they just.
I mean, if you
Uh,
want to
I
call it an expansion, I suppose you could.
well, no, just like because it was an expansion of the universe. As far as that, that's what I mean
okay.
by
This
that.
meant like an expansion to
No,
like,
no, no.
Mass Effect
Oh
3 or
God,
something.
no.
Like it was its
No,
own
no, no.
game. What are you talking about?
No, I mean just like the expansion of the actual known universe, because that was always the fun thing about Mass Effect is the fact that it gave you the ability to kind of just go like after that first initial mission, you could just go anywhere, right? And
It'll
so
only
I would
seize
plan it
you
up.
every once in a while to say, okay, now you have to do this, but then it
Yeah.
will open up a certain part of the map again.
The next section.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like one of the first, or at least the first two games. It felt like a lot of actions really did make a bit of a difference. Like you could feel it in the shop area, you felt it on certain worlds, and depending on how well you treated certain people,
Yeah,
it
like,
affected certain
people would be
missions
like-
if you brought them.
you make a decision in the third game to like, oh, you son of a bitch, you did this and that and the other, and you're like, wait, what?
Right.
Oh God, I
that
know
was one
that
of the
one.
first games I've ever played that felt that way, and it felt like, man, it really did matter what I did. Now it's time to go back and be an asshole and see how it matters in the third game.
Yeah.
Just remember that when
Renegade
it comes
playthrough.
to BioWare's releases, Mass Effect and Dragon Age always came out in tandem. Mass Effect 1 came out in 2007. Dragon Age Origins came out in 2009. So those have always kind of come out, stair-stepped from one another. And they are technically linked in the same universe, but not in such a way that it's going to affect the way you play one versus another.
That's a very true statement. And there's a lot of things that when you start talking about those two franchises that they did really well. They executed really well. The companion system was definitely one of them because that was definitely something that was a lot of fun because it did impact the way that you played. And then just like the way that your actions impacted the map itself were really, really interesting and unique comparatively. I don't see a lot of games that do it as well as those two franchises do from them.
And you could make an argument from a development standpoint that they took the open world concept from just, the way you move around the map and complete mini missions into your interactions and relationships with characters too. Because, a lot of people play those games thinking, oh, I'm going to play this time, I'm going to romance Garrus, or this time I'm going to romance Liara, or, character of your choice. But you don't necessarily have to do it that way. You can choose to be antagonistic to a character or to go kind of a half and half path relationship wise too, and that is also a choice that, again, I know it sounds like I'm going off the path of open world here, but that can affect the way you do your gameplay too.
Well,
No, I agree.
that's always interesting too because it impacts the greater storyline too in a degree that you really don't think about. Like they obviously have a story that they're telling, but like there's so many little intricate details that all of those choices do impact. Which is really, really fun because like you don't really think that like, oh, I'm going to talk to this random person over here and I'm going to help them with their problems. And then like, half the game through you realize that like that particular character shows up again in a different location and actually has a very relevant portion of the plot, which is kind of fun.
All right, real question about this game. Do you guys prefer male shepherd or femme shepherd?
Ah, don't do that
I
to
mean,
me.
each has their benefits.
Wait, is there a difference between
I
both
like.
of
Uh,
them?
Well,
yes.
No, I mean just
No,
the voice
not really.
acting.
It's personal
I
preference
like the
thing.
voice actor
the
for
voice actor for
femme
Fem
shepherd a
Shep is
lot
actually
more.
pretty
A
fantastic.
lot of people feel that way, honestly. She's very popular, but it
Jennifer
really
Hale.
comes down to personal preference. Canon has decided that in any BioWare property that has to choose one or the other, FemShep is canon, but they have done everything they possibly can to make it to where they don't have to choose in any capacity. But it really, there's no, to answer your question, they Kitsu, they don't have to.
I mean, they
You
both
don't
did
have
a
to pick. There's no
fantastic job.
Oh my gosh. That's almost the question like between female hawk and male hawk.
Who the hell is Hawk?
Oh
Dragon
my.
Age 2's protagonist.
Yep.
Oh, I played
That's
Dragon Age
probably
2
the
for
same
like
one.
3 hours.
Oh gosh.
How dare you? First of all,
Oh boy.
How dare you?
I remember I started playing it. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna romance the this
Bro.
pirate chick," and then I met the wood elf, and I was like, "Never mind."
Dragon Age 2 is Dragon Age 2
Oh gosh.
strained the definition of open world in a manner of speaking.
Because
But
it all takes place
Yeah.
in that city, doesn't it? Or at least
There-
in that
No,
way.
there were
you
some
have
areas outside of the city that you could work with, but there were a lot of constraints on the game that made it to where the environments had to be cut back. But there was a trade-off.
Yeah.
Like the plots were extremely developed, and that was your exchange with Dragon Age 2.
Hmm.
But
that
if you
that
look
is a
at
very good point.
yeah, if you look at Origins and especially the game that came after Inquisition,
Oh my god.
Inquisition is one of the biggest open world games that BioWare has put out. So
Yeah. Inquisition for me is ooh, over there. Oh my god,
I
over there.
own it.
something
Over
shiny.
there.
I just not
I
played
can't
it.
figure out where the fuck I'm going. Hey, there's more map. Oh my god. Now I'm over here again. Now I'm over here. What the
Okay,
hell am I
we
doing?
get it. We get it.
Yeah. Like I said
I
earlier, that's me and Zola.
yeah.
Yeah, Inquisition is to the point where it's open world enough that replayers tend to skip side quests because
That's true.
it has a dedicated enough following that replays it to where you're just like, okay, I've done this side quest 500 times.
What, you mean you don't want to go get the freaking cattle again for that one particular person in order to make
Unfortunately,
sure
they
that you
just
can
didn't have the resources to make it like it's like they were shooting for a Skyrim feel, but they could there's no way they could have done that because they had Skyrim was just one land that was huge, and Inquisition had like 7 or
Oh
8
gosh.
or 9 or whatever. They
Yeah,
couldn't do
'cause
that many times.
yeah, because you had Ferelden or Lay, and then
You had
the
several
Marches.
locations in
Yeah,
each of those. So
yeah, that was just it. You had the free marches too. So when you're talking about like just that, with the exception of like the only place that you haven't been, which is the Vinter, it stretched the entirety of nearly that entire world at that point.
Hmm.
Oh, it was huge. Like when you really think about that, that is so much sense. And then there was different cities and different towns that you got in all of those areas too. So it was sprawling.
I remember getting into Mass Effect for the first time, and because I've maybe only played up to like 4 or 5 hours of the game, honestly, before I ran out of space to keep games on my computer, and it was one of the games that had to be sacrificed. Um,
um,
I got so lost in that one ship area where it has like all the people you're talking to and the things you can buy and everything in there. And you're running around doing quests, and I was running around just
You were at
talking to
the
people
Citadel?
and Citadel, thank you, I couldn't remember what it was called. I got so lost in there for like 2 hours straight before I even continued
It took me
the
a while
thing.
to navigate that thing properly the first time too.
I went to so
It's
many
easy to get
areas. I
lost in
found
that
so
citadel.
many fights that I had to do. Helped people. I'm pretty sure I talked to one lady who was some kind of fucking like a. This is not a young kid stream. So if you're a kid, get out. But I talked to the one like fucking sexy lady in the. I can't remember the
Oh my
name for
gosh,
it. The
the bad
brothel
up. Yeah.
place. I
Yep,
was
that's
like,
what it
Probably
what
is.
the
it was
fuck
probably an
is
Asari.
going on?
Probably an
I don't know.
Asari.
I don't know if any of you
Yep.
know the Suikoden series, but in each of those games, you had to build up a huge castle with like 108
Oh boy.
characters you recruited. But after running around those, like the Citadel and stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I'll get it eventually. I feel like I didn't even really get phased.
So yeah, so fun fact. That was actually the first game series that I introduced my wife to, as far as like this is something you need to play, was actually the
True.
Suikoden series, and that actually had a lot of times where you could miss characters, and there's 108 characters that you can recruit
I don't know if
over
that
the
fits
duration
the
of the
theme
game.
of this
Yeah.
podcast, but
I think it does because it is actually an open world, like because you could go anywhere and you had to go to the areas multiple times. Now that was PlayStation 2
two.
era.
Well, the first one was PlayStation 1, wasn't it?
Yep, first one was PlayStation 1, which I played. And then the
The
rest of them
second one,
were PlayStation. Yep, there's
I
PlayStation
can't remember.
2. But that was just like there was so much that you had to do. And part of the fun thing about that was is that you got to choose your champion in the third game, which means that you had three main protagonists that you got to follow along, and then you got to choose who was going to be your main character, which is so cool. Like ridiculously so. Because it's just like, oh, here's these three different factions, and you get to play through all three of their little plot lines as your introduction, and now you get to choose what you're going to do and figure it out from there.
I think that's one thing I wish you could see more of in open world is just like approaching it from the other end. Like I don't just want to see more open maps. That's really cool. I want to see it, but I want to see the story give me more options too. So if anyone
I
out
love
there
stuff.
is involved in indie game design and hears it, give me some people I can relate to and let me pick.
Yes, I love that kind of shit. Like Dragon Age, I feel like does that really well. Mind you, I've only played through part of Origins, but like you build a bond with the people that you're going with, and
Mhm.
like you have some people you prefer fighting by your side, some people you don't.
Yeah. Everybody
Um,
has favorites.
which I like for me, like my go-to right now because I end up playing rogues a lot. I think my war dog is on my team. Well, before my game corrupted and I had to restart.
Oh.
Oh.
Back when my other computer fucking crapped out. But I had Alistair on my team. I had Morgana.
Morgan. Morgan.
Sorry, Morgan. Yes, I was like, fuck, it's some M name, and I had the
Yeah.
dog on my party, and I was like, why am I trading out anybody else? But then I remember getting to some mission, and the library or something,
Mhm.
trying to go through there to save the kids that were at the very top of the level or the people that were stuck up there. I don't remember if it was a library or not. I really just can't remember. It's been a while. And I
It was a
traded.
tower.
It was a
Tower
tower,
trade
but
tower.
I have some. I don't. Any. Yes.
You're thinking of the Circle Tower, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Why did I think
Mhm.
the library? Anyway.
Because there is a huge library in there. That's why. Because that's
Okay. So see, I
yeah.
wasn't fully wrong.
That's the whole point of them being there is to study. So
That's
Yeah.
right.
it's like being
But
trapped in school your whole life.
I don't remember what the magic user that followed you in that
Quinn.
area was.
Win.
I traded Morgan out for her so fast because she was starting to get on my nerves with her just like hard ass attitude. And I'm like, no,
Oh
fucking
god.
leave. Get out. I'm done talking to you. And then the girl, you pick her up after you save the city from like the zombie invasion, basically. I know it's not zombies, but it's the easiest way to
You're
describe it. 'cause I can't
Liliana, you're
remember.
thinking of, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
her. I
picture
haven't
Liliana.
fucking touched her.
You didn't like Liliana?
No,
And you
I'm the
have
exact
to
same thing she is the problem, so I don't double up.
you have
Yeah.
to well, you have to double up kind of because the dog only has use up to a point. So eventually you're
Unfortunately.
gonna
I
uh,
refuse.
eventually you're going to
I
double up.
refuse.
It's all right. It's all right.
Oh gosh.
I can
I
never
mean,
make
it's
Smokey leave my party.
I the other thing about that is those that you as you're playing along with those, like you can miss companions in those types of games. And it's
Mhm.
kind of interesting if you think about it. Like for a good example of that is Sten. Sten is a companion that you can completely miss if you aren't paying attention, right?
Yep.
And like he's a really good fighter. Like he's an actually really good fighter, but he is so freaking easy to miss
Is that the
because
guy?
he's an optional side quest.
There's a guy in a cage. Is that who that is?
That is
Or
Sten. Yes.
okay, I remember getting
Oh
him.
my
I was like,
god,
no, I'm
yes.
not gonna leave you in the cage. Come on, bud. You can be my friend.
But you
Now
can. But
this
that's
is
the thing.
this is a little bit of a spoiler for you, but I am talking about a game that came out in 2014
Yeah,
now.
no. If I get a
In-
spoiler from this game, you're fully fine. It's
but
fine.
but Inquisition, you actually have the ability to drive away almost every single companion that you can recruit.
Yes.
You
Oh
can
damn.
Rude.
you can either choose not to go pick them up, like a couple of them will invite you to come meet them, and you can just I'm not gonna go. And then a couple of them you can just like pick fights with them and then punch them and they'll leave.
Yep.
And
Wow.
it will never let you get to where you can't put together a full party. So there's a couple characters that you can just make them absolutely hate your guts, but they won't leave because they're plot important.
Cassandra.
Because yep,
Oh
Cassandra is
my
one of them.
gosh.
'Cause you'll
I
always
feel
at
like I
least
remember
have
that one.
Cassandra, Varric, and Solus that they will not leave even if they want you to
Ah.
die. But
Holy shit.
so you'll always have one warrior, one rogue, and one mage
I feel like
available to you.
Shelly. I feel like you're talking to us about the experience you had here.
No. Well, no, Cassandra hates my guts. I can't even lie about that one. Me and
But
that bitch do not get
it does
along.
give you again, the illusion. A lot of it is the illusion of choice, right? And
Yeah.
some of it is sometimes it is an illusion, and sometimes it is reality. Like you can choose to not interact with a lot of these people, just like you can choose not to pursue certain side quests on the map.
Yep.
One thing I was going to say before the break, just a little more general about open world, that someone was talking about. I don't know something. I apologize. I don't remember the context now, but just something about how you can always go and so you're in a mission. You can always stop and leave the mission and go and pick up more materials
my
from
gosh.
side
Yeah,
quests.
that's actually what I was doing in
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think it must have
same.
been something you were saying before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, I've been doing that. I've been leaving like the main quest I've been on and being like, I need all this. I'm gonna go over here, gather it all, and then I'll go back.
I
Yes.
can't even talk because I've literally been doing that in so at Star Rail I actually hit the level lockout finally.
Mhm.
I didn't even I wasn't even halfway through the first like plot point for that first like area. And I hit the level lockout.
Hey, Shelly, didn't that game just come out?
Yeah, I know.
It
We're not
did.
gonna talk about
There's
we're
there's
not gonna
something
talk
that
about this.
there's something that Rachel and I do whenever we play an open world game like that.
Oh god.
We look at where the main quest wants us to go, and then we like pull out that SpongeBob means like, let me get this straight. You want me to go that way? And the main quest is like, yeah, huh? Well then I'm going this way.
No. I yeah, the thing about it is they're like, okay, here's a side quest. I'm just like, oh, piece of candy. And then there's like, here's another side quest because you did this one side quest. So I'm just like, oh, okay, another piece of candy. I'm all right. And I'm like, oh, wait, I can get materials if I do this. And if I do this thing, then I get even things. And then I get more things if I do this. And I'm just, I've been stuck in the same freaking simulated world for like 5 fucking days, and I can't figure out. Oh, I have
I
a
mean,
new
it
plot
it
point
does
that
get a
allows me
little
to open anything
overwhelming,
else.
doesn't
Crap.
it? Your quest log just gets bigger and bigger, right? At least mine does.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I
Yeah.
go and clear out all the side quest pieces.
Well,
But
I
this is
get kind of annoyed though. I don't. They're like, okay, here's 6 more quests you can do because you finished that one. I'm like, no, I don't want 6 more quests. That's too many. It's too many.
I feel that sometimes, you know, I think it was, I don't remember what game it was, but I did a side quest. Like it opened up 5 other side quests, and I was like, what the fuck?
Y'all
What?
better wait.
What? I don't want to do all these.
Like I'll
Like-
get to them eventually, but then like sometimes you like level out of them, right? And then I just get mad.
Oh my gosh. And the bad thing, like, part of my problem is that like I do a whole bunch of item collection when I'm doing this because Mary has watched me do this. Stars with what it is. So I end up with
Yeah.
stacks of resources because then I start hoarding them. And she knows exactly what I'm talking about because she's seen it. I've started doing that in Star Rail already. Yeah, there we go.
Surely this will be good for something.
I mean, like I'm like I have 300 something of this particular piece of meat. I'm going to make like 200 dishes, and like it's fine. I'll probably use them eventually. And then I fall below like 10 of them, and I start to have a panic attack because then I'm like I'm going low. I don't need that money. I don't.
I,
I have to
actually
say-
oh, sorry, Gina.
You
continue.
first. Go ahead.
I actually have a funny story for an open world thing. So, on our docket is Horizons, and so I have Horizons on my PS4. I have the first one. I got it for free whenever it was like on. It was like, hey, this is a like celebration thing. You get this game for free. So I got it. I downloaded it. I never touched it.
How dare you?
I kept wanting to touch it, but something kept on stopping me. And so our lovely Kitsukune here, right? Anyway, our lovely Kitsukune got PlayStation 5 and started playing Forbidden West. And so like I was over at her house and I was just kind of like haphazardly watching her run around and do shit. I'm like, and she's in this one area, and I'm like, wow, that area is like the map bigger than
Oh,
that.
in
And
the
she
dot
just
at the
starts
beginning there.
she just and she just laughs and she just zooms out further and further and further, and I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, at the beginning it seems big, and then you see the whole map, and you're like, oh.
I think that's honestly what's like stopped me for a bit playing, because I need to mentally prepare myself for the amount of running around that's
Just
gonna
do
make me have to
one
do.
bit at a time, one question mark on the map at a time.
I can't
I-
do that.
Yes, you can.
I do that a lot. Like, it was funny because after that I started playing the first game because I was curious. Amanda was like, "You need to play the game."
Bitch,
I
you need to
haven't
play this
finished
game
it.
so we have people to talk. So I have more people to talk to about this.
I still need to finish it. It'll probably be after the new Zelda game.
I mean the wife can let you guys know I'm a completionist when it comes to games. Like I have to explore everything and get as much of it as I can.
Yep.
And if I miss something, it drives me
Yep.
freaking batshit.
But I
Mhm.
platinum both Horizon games.
Misses
And-
100 everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll save that comment in a few minutes. I'm gonna take a note of that. Real
Yeah,
fast.
we'll just. But it's a. But that's the reason why I've been like the trash panda picking up, like opening all the trash cans. It's like I'm literally like, wait, these actually give me stuff. There's actually achievements for doing this. I need to open everything.
Yep. There's another game that does treading on, because we have to keep this to an hour and a half, so we may have to save some of the games for another time to get more thoroughly into them.
No.
But I am gonna segue a little bit into Assassin's Creed. That's another game that's open world, and like we'll go with like I think the cult favorite of a couple of people in here, which is the fourth one, Black Flag, because that's an
Hell yeah.
amazing
But not
Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed game,
That is
but not
actually
because of the
not one that I've
assassins.
played.
It is my
The-
least favorite of all the Assassin's
It's the
Creeds
best
I've played
Assassin's
so
Oh,
far.
The way I
really?
describe it,
Unpopular
Yes.
opinion corner.
I wouldn't say it's the best one. I think
the way I
I-
Brothers was
describe it is
the
it's the
best
best
I
one.
think it was-
Assassin's Creed game,
I think it was narratively lacking.
but
See-
not because of the assassin part. It's the best
Yeah.
pirate game.
That's
It's a
what.
good pirate
That's for
game,
me. That's
sure.
for
It
me.
is, yeah.
That's what it is for me. Because I think my favorite game of the ones that I've played, is 3. Because I liked being able to parkour not only in the trees but on the roofs and everything, and
Yeah.
I
would
just felt I
probably
Yeah.
say
love
I
for
would
me
have
it's
to pick
2.
between-
It's
I
either
would-
2 or
I-
Oh,
Brotherhood.
that
for me.
yeah.
I
Mine's
love
Ezio
Brotherhood and
Auditore. Yeah,
Revelations.
I love
I haven't
Ezio.
finished
Oh my
2.
gosh.
I need to, but I'm loving that
2
game.
is like
I-
the quintessential
2
Assassin's
and
Creed
Brotherhood
experience.
Yeah.
are amazing because they're like one right after the other.
Like the soundtrack
could-
alone will
yes.
just bring me.
I
to
could
another level.
not, for the life of me,
Oh my gosh.
finish Revelations. I cannot stand that game.
So,
Revelations
I
was
think-
difficult in a way.
so wife.
I think
at the-
Revelations and
Well, hold on,
Unity
hold on. Mary
get a
was
bad
or
rap.
Sally was talking. Hold on, let her finish first.
So wife is like, I think you've played through nearly everything with the exception of Odyssey. Like,
No,
At least,
I didn't. Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play. I didn't get to play Liberation. I didn't get to play. I had Rogue, but I don't have the console anymore, so I didn't get to play that.
that's true. I need to
And
Rogue
play
is a
it
very
again.
condensed Assassin's Creed game. There's
And then I
no
didn't
filler.
have. I don't have Valhalla yet either. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Valhalla one. I know it was.
But I
one that
have
was
Odyssey. I just need to like figure out how to make it work on my computer.
Yeah,
I
But
don't
I
like
mean,
Odyssey.
Oh no.
Sorry, Shelly.
no, it's just like she's played through the first several, especially because I know that after a major character died, she was just kind of like the game's kind of fell apart in a way. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
But,
Oh, I think
like,
yeah.
And
I
that
Yeah.
writer left. So
yeah.
Yeah, I know what
But-
you're talking about.
But she's like watching her play these games is interesting because she's almost more a completionist than I am in some respects because like I've never seen anybody go after fucking feathers as hard as she does. Like it is a hardcore hunt
Yep.
for her. And like some of those feathers are freaking hard. Now I
the
can't play the
parkouring
game.
is really enjoyable though. So
I
So
It is.
I
I
I
you know
can't
the
play
remember.
feathers?
them specifically because of that. Oh
I
yeah, she's gotten
remember
all
the-
the feathers twice.
So I had fully
Damn.
beaten. I've gotten all the feathers. I gotten all I got everything you could collect in the second game. The
Mhm.
second time I played through it, because the first time I didn't beat it, and then the second time I restarted and played through it.
the first time
and I
didn't get
remember
feathers, I think.
how happy the
remember.
mom was when she had collected all those feathers,
Yeah.
and I was like, I would do it again. As much as all the headache was, I'd do it again.
Now that one, in terms of just the topic, open world game, they were, and this was, this was some time ago. Taking this in the context also of the early Dragon Age, the early Mass Effect, and then the early Assassin's Creed games, they had this wall function to limit your exploration of
yeah.
the open world. And Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed, it was just like the most blatant, almost insultingly blatant. You would get I don't know if you guys remember this brilliant white wall
Oh,
that
yes.
turned
Oh
into
my
a glowing
God.
wall, and you
I
would
can't
just
go over
run.
here yet.
fucking
That wall.
hated it.
Yeah, you'd
hate
be
that wall.
parkouring along like Tarzan, and you'd just smack headfirst in this wall.
I actually I was
Oh,
playing the
God.
second game a while back, and I was in the first city that you start in. I can't remember the fucking name of it.
Florence, for instance.
Florence.
Yeah.
I was in there and I was parkouring. I was trying to get to one of the main objectives, but I was parkouring off of roofs because I was just like, I was done fighting the guards. I'd fought so many of them. I was like, I'm just running here, so
Mhm.
leave me the fuck alone. Not realizing I'm at the edge of the world, and I like launch myself into that void.
Oh,
It spawned me, and I was like, and it
Wow.
respawned me like so fucking away, and I was like, you bitch. I'm so annoyed with that game at that
I will
moment.
say I do have one
Oh.
grievance because I mean every game's gonna have a little. I will say one grievance. As amazing as the parkour systems are in any Assassin's Creed game, I'm not gonna count the first one because I hated that you couldn't fucking swim. But as amazing as
Oh
all
my
the
God.
parkour shit was and all of them, sometimes when they don't fucking listen to you is the most infuriating thing. Because
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
clearly pressing
Oh.
the correct buttons, and there is no
It's not
reason
perfect.
they
It is
can't
not
run.
perfect.
Oh my god, that's the only.
And
And it always
they
happens
get better. They
when
got
you're.
better over time.
I will agree they have
But
gotten better, but
sometimes
it's
you're like,
always when you're trying to get away from a fuck ton of guards is whenever it starts like, hey, did you see this invisible booth
Oh my
right here
God.
that I can't get past?
well, if you've
Yeah.
noticed though, I mean, if you've played through them enough over time, you'll realize that where the spots where it got better to use
Mm-hmm.
in the earlier games, the reason that happened is because they actually took options for movement away from you.
Yeah.
So they actually set the course up for you in such a way that you could only do certain things. And so the game didn't have to try to anticipate as many actions from the player.
It's been quiet.
It makes
Yeah,
me.
in a way it's kind of like, brain, you guys, so sneaky, but it's just like, oh, okay.
It
So
makes
like,
me.
They disguise it well
Yeah, it's
too by
crazy.
making it like, oh, you're going up this wall. You can go up at 3 different ways.
Right, like,
So grab different points. But
Right.
at the end of the day, you're going up that wall.
well, yeah, but like, in game one, you could have jumped left, you could have jumped right, you could have gone center, maybe you could have like bounced off and onto another building. But like by the time you get to game 3 or 4, you only had one path of handholds, or maybe two
Yeah.
paths up, and that was it. Like you couldn't go anywhere else, really.
Yeah.
So of course the
Yeah.
action's
And it-
gonna be smoother because the game already knows where you're gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
remember
sometimes
when
it's
you.
still clunky. I think it's so silly.
I mean, it is what it is.
I love when you would be playing and you would get the guards to glitch and they were just humping walls.
There was some other.
I
Yeah.
You
only
remember
ever
we actually
had one
Oh.
glitch
We
that
took-
irritated me really bad. Because I mean, don't
we
get me
took a
wrong.
copy of 3 back to the store because one glitch was so bad we thought there was something wrong with the copy.
My God.
That's humble.
It was.
Hilarious. I remember playing. I think it was
Horrible.
Brotherhood, and it was one of the wells you can hide in. This is the only glitch. I've run into 2 glitches, but most of the time it's not my character glitching. It's the bodies or something doing a weird dance or whatever before they die. I had went to grab a hold to the well to, hide in it, but he let go, which you're not supposed to be able to do, and I died. And I'm like, what
Ooh.
the fuck,
Oh,
you
no.
assholes? Mind you, I didn't die right away. I tried to parkour my way out, and then you hear falling, because it doesn't follow him, because it's not supposed to be able to go in there. But you can see him
Oh,
trying to jump
no.
around and get out, and then you just hear falling. And you hear the splat of him like if he falls from a tower.
Aw.
And I'm like, oh,
Oh.
you motherfucker.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah, I remember this one time I was running from guards, and I was booking it, and all of a sudden, the guard just kind of like not T-posed, but they like stood straight up and then just walked away. It's like, what the fuck?
I'm done here.
T-pose is a common
Oh,
glitch in a lot of
God.
those games, though. They're just handling so many factors sometimes.
They didn't even T-pose. They literally just like straightened up and like went like frozen like straight body for like 2 seconds and then just walked away. I was like, the fuck? Oh, okay, you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice time.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, Indy was filled with bugs like that. Faces wouldn't load. You see eyeball, teeth.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that one was definitely. That one definitely had a lot of bugs.
I love Unity though. Like its actual gameplay is great when the servers work.
Well, not
and
just
they
that,
add
but
multiplayer pretty
Unity's
well.
the.
Oh,
I think I know
that's
which one that
another
is.
one I didn't play.
You have it.
I do have it because
Yeah.
they gave it out for
Yeah.
free, if I recall, when Notre Dame burned down,
Yeah.
when the actual church building had burnt down. Ubisoft was like, "Here, have this for free," because they went through and made a near inch
Like
to inch,
laser.
accurate replica of Notre Dame in the game.
Oh wow.
So
Oh wow.
yeah, they gave the game out for free.
That
It's
is
like
one good
here,
thing
you
about
might not be
this.
able to see it in real life anymore, but here you can see it in this now.
They
And
went
they
to a
even have
lot of
like a
effort to
game mode
create
where
those
you can
environments.
look at it.
Yeah, and in that particular case, it definitely paid off.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
Assassin's
I
Creed
mean, like,
want
go ahead.
the one Assassin's Creed game I don't have, but I really want to play just because it looks a lot of fun, and I love the where it's set in is Origins.
That was a pretty good game.
Egypt.
Yeah, the spouse. The
I
spouse
I
has
l-
it.
I love I'm kind I love like Egyptian stuff, and so like when I saw that game, I was just like, oh, give me.
They did some good work with it narratively too, which I was pleased about. After I think the last one I played before it was Black Flag, and I was just so like desolate about where they were going with it, in a storytelling manner, that I was very pleasantly surprised playing Origins after that.
Yeah.
So
I heard a lot of people don't like Black Flag because it's like somebody said earlier, it's a good pirate game, not an assassin's game.
Yeah.
I've not played Black Flag. The newest one that I had played apart from Unity was 3.
Yeah, though
I had
I've
that one.
watched the wife play it, but I can't play it myself because of obviously the
was it what?
because the
Oh,
ah,
being in the trees.
yeah,
Yeah.
just up high and doing the drops.
It was
that
kind of
you
difficult
do.
because after Ezio and Desmond, who were very popular, Connor
Quite.
was very difficult to get attached to, and we didn't have him for long. And then Edward was not well liked by a lot of people, I think, as well. So like
But
he was
it's really hard to get
like there and
get
gone. So
yeah.
yeah.
But you take somebody like Ezio, he's just a
Ezio,
hard
man.
one to beat in terms of popularity.
He was
I
just a
loved
classic,
Ezio.
man. Who didn't
He
like
was.
Ezio,
He
man?
really was. There's nothing wrong
The
with
little
Ezio.
boy. He was just a little boy. He's like, yeah.
I
And we were all like,
love,
okay.
I love Ezio. I liked Altair, and then I found out what happened after the game, and then I was just sad. I was like, ah, that fucking sucks. I hate that.
One thing that I thought all of those games had in common that I would have done away with, and that Skyrim didn't do, that I thought was a good choice, was the level system. I really feel like, especially with the open world aspect of these games, I feel like, back in 2007, 2009, they didn't really, that was just the way it was done. But I feel like
Yeah.
these days, games that don't rely so heavily on leveled progression have been more enjoyable by and large. And this isn't really the podcast for it, but The Secret World was a game that I enjoyed a lot. That was original in its original incarnation, was fully without levels, and it was gaming experiences I ever had. Elder Scrolls, obviously, like you have your bar progression. When you get X experience, you get points, but it's not like your enemy's scaled and then now this enemy does nothing for you. You don't have that experience to the same degree. So
Well, and not only that, like it's just not fun to like, okay, I want to level up locksmithing or like being able to break into shit.
Mhm.
You just have to constantly be like, anytime you see a locked door, it's like, oh, it's only level 25. I better hit this one.
I mean, earlier, I think that some of the Assassin's Creed games weren't so bad about it. Like, you could still get your butt whooped by a basic guard in Venice, but with Dragon Age and Mass Effect in particular, you would get to the point where most anything you fought after a certain point gave you nothing to level up on. But you could still die from a bear. I mean, the bears just broke all the rules, but
Oh gosh, yeah.
But I
I
really
You
remember
feel
always
like
had a
one.
few things like that for sure.
yeah. But you know, it's like the open world concept has a certain limitation in most of these game developers' minds, where they've built this comprehensive world, but then you outscale it to the point where by the time you get close to the end game, it's not worth it anymore, right?
That's
Like they don't want you
very
to keep
true.
playing it anymore. I don't know.
And not only that, the same issue comes. Oh, you haven't played Odyssey, but in Odyssey, there's a leveling system, and the enemies are constantly out leveling you, which is fine usually. But if you go for a stealth kill, it's like, oh, it just doesn't matter. They were asleep and you stabbed in the throat. They're higher level than you, so they're gonna wake up and alert everyone.
Okay,
I stab my
that
throat,
seems
I
a
still
little
survive that time.
counterproductive. Like if it's a
yeah.
stealth kill, I feel like you should get certain advantages if you
Right.
are actually
Right.
able to maintain
Like,
stealth.
I've snuck into this house, got through all the guards, and I stabbed him in the throat, and it's just like, well, he's a higher level than you. Sorry, half his health is gone, but
Oh my
he's gonna wake
gosh.
up.
Oh
That sucks.
man.
That sucks.
I mean,
He's
dead
still
is dead,
alive.
right? Like
Oh
certain
man.
parts of the human anatomy are always going to be vulnerable. It just seems
Yep.
like that's a little counterproductive.
Yeah.
But okay, fine.
This isn't like anything like that, but I remember in the second one, you're sneaking into like I think you're sneaking into listen to a meeting,
Mhm.
and these guards come out and they're like talking, and they're like, "Oh, this is an easy job," da, 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 da. And then you like they see you, or like you kill one of them, and one of the guards off,
Yep.
and I
You have to
can
chase him.
never. Yes, I can never catch that motherfucker.
You're not supposed to. You're never meant to.
Oh, you're never meant to. I
Yeah,
always thought
you're
you could.
specifically not meant to. In fact, if you just stop, you'll hear him like stop and oh, he's not running after me. He'll like actually stop and wait for you. That's a game mechanic.
Oh my
A lot of
god.
games tend to be that way. If you're
think
trying to
that
chase somebody
actually-
down,
hmm Yeah, they don't
Okay,
actually
no,
want them to lose you, or
in
it'll
Mass-
desync so you can start the race over again.
in Mass Effect 3, at the beginning when you're on Mars, when you have
Oh
to chase
god, that
chase
thing.
the robot at the end there, even if you catch up to them, they will get an unholy speed boost just to stay ahead of you.
Yes! I hated that. Like when I finally get my hands on you, I'm going to throttle you and turn you into parts.
You know,
Mother.
And like
I
you get
always-
like within a couple feet, and then they just go, flash
Yes!
style and zip ahead.
They're
like,
not human. You can't expect them to obey human rules, right?
yeah. I always thought you could catch that guard. That's why I always tried my hardest, but I could never do it. And I was like, motherfucker, I couldn't
Well,
do
if
it.
nothing else, you gained proficiency with the system by trying, right?
Didn't you just walk at one point? Like,
Hmm?
weren't you just? I think that you were on that particular mission, and at one playthrough, you were just like, "F it, I'm just gonna walk."
I don't know, but it sounds like something I might do.
Because I was like, "What are you doing?" You're just like, "I'm just walking." I'm like, what?" You're just like, "No, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna walk." I was so confused. I
wouldn't
was
put
like,
it
I don't
past
even
me.
know what's going on at this point. But you're just like, "No,
I
I'm
will
just
say,
gonna
getting
walk
the
here."
100%, getting the full sync on Brotherhood was. I
pain.
don't think I've ever done 100% sync across all memories on Brotherhood. I've
No, you
I
tried.
don't think I've done that
You
on
have.
any Assassin's Creed that
I
I've
remember
played.
you were playing things over and over again to get it.
I was making myself crazy, and then I realized that it was actually a game, and I wanted to stay sane. So
Oh, good God.
like there
Yeah.
came a point.
Mm.
Self care kicked in. So.
I
I
love you.
it is. We have been going for about an hour and 15 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and do our last intermission for the day to bring up
Woo.
the other thing that we're gonna talk about, you guys.
The last thing.
Is
Yep.
anybody staying? Is somebody leaving? I remember Fee talked about
I'm good.
bouncing.
I might listen, but I don't know if I'm gonna have much to say on the next topic.
That's understandable. It's
Okay.
fine.
I certainly won't.
If it's
Hey.
just your special subject, I'll probably head out. But thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and you're welcome to join in at any of these if you have something to say. And we will return to this topic again as there seems to be a lot we can talk about on this fucking genre.
Yeah.
We didn't
So
talk much
we will
about
go
Horizon.
ahead
It
and
needs a whole
bid.
episode for itself.
And by the way, Fee, you're
It's
welcome to
alright, Horizon's
sit
not that
and
fun.
listen if you want.
How dare you?
You don't have to leave, but we will bid you adieu if you do leave.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
I'll see if my wife bullies me on the break.
Ah.
All right, guys, we're gonna take another quick
Ah.
intermission here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. For those that are recording, we'll be back in literally like a second for you guys because I'm just gonna pause. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, and we are back from our very quick break. I hope you are all excited. So we have skipped over one game. I'm not sure if anybody here has thought about it or not. But it was done on purpose. So on the new Discord server that me, Shao, Beardy, and Star all run together, we have a podcast room. We have slots for each day of the week, and so far Sunday is the only one that's been taking place or had anything on it. But now we have a secondary one, and I'm gonna let our lovely Star and Shao talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so this coming Monday we will be doing a Genshin podcast, which is specific to Genshin lore and just fan theory. Because that is actually the quintessential open world RPG, action RPG.
Essential.
It is. If you think about it, it has real time combat. It has a questing system. It has a open world that you can go in with a linear plot, and then with a shit ton of side quests that you can do.
Yeah.
Not to
Also,
mention
you
the
can select
addition
multiple
of
characters.
not to mention the addition of online multiplayer that
Yep.
doesn't it changes but doesn't change things, if it makes sense. It
Yeah,
makes
I
it
mean
easier.
the co-op options are very limited comparatively, so it's not a massive multiplayer online. Um, goodness knows we do enough questing in that sucker to
Oh yeah.
oh my god. Which at
Um,
some point might uh we might at least at one point do some runs for boss quests because it's what we definitely do every Saturday or Sunday. Gosh, help
Yep.
us. Um,
Dad, I really
but
can't
no,
fucking talk.
Genshin for me is one of those things where it kind of hits my sweet spot because I started in JRPGs and I like cute characters, but I like really intense depth lore, and that's one of the things that Genshin
Mm,
really does a really good job of is total world building because it
definitely.
looks like a sweet and cute game until you actually get into it, and then there's in-depth character stories. There's lore on every single item that you get. So that's
Yeah.
actually a lot of fun.
It's
Oh,
also like
it-
it also kind of tickles that other part of your brain, like the hoarder, because you're just like, oh, pretty flower. Ooh, this. I need rocks. I need rocks to make weapons
Ah,
and stuff.
true.
And actually, well, actually, I think out of this group, our lovely Kitsukune was the first one to get into Genshin, and she well started
I
kinda
playing it.
spread from there.
I was the person that out of the friend group that started it. Because it was a super interesting story.
That was me. Then I got you into it, and then you got them. Because I played like day one.
Okay, yeah. Then so technically, I got into it from Henry.
Okay.
And then you guys got into it from me.
I was like, oh, this game is really pretty.
And we had told Shao like, hey, like this game's super fun. Like, maybe you should try it out. There's a multiplayer thing.
Oh my gosh.
And
yeah.
originally she was like, nah, it doesn't seem like my kind of thing. I might look at it. Da 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 da.
Well,
I have stopped playing
Let her
since
finish.
then. As I have issues with the domain areas, where my game bugs out a whole bunch, and my domains break every time I go into them. So I stopped playing for a very long time, and fucking Shal and Mary started playing together, and both of them have level 90 characters running around through Sumeru, yelling about turkeys and
Same.
dragons and fucking
Oh.
wallets and other things. But that's
Oh my
neither
God.
here or there. That you'll get more information
Ah,
on in their
yeah.
stream tomorrow. We're gonna talk about just
Um,
the basic fundamentals of the game.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
well, the bad thing about it is, so when Genshin first came out, I actually did download it onto my PlayStation and I created an account and that did not touch it at all. So literally when I actually downloaded it, because Mary's very sweet, but Mary like sweet bullies.
Sorry. Well,
And she's like, just do it, just try it out once. And I was just like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I'm like, I'll do it. It's no big deal. I'll just do it.
In other words, what
So,
Shelly is saying is she is a sucker when it comes to Starry Dragon, because everybody who talks to Star thinks she's some innocent, sweet little bean when she's really fucking not. But that's neither here nor there.
okay, I'm going to point out the fact that I did that with Minecraft for you, and I actually purchased a game. Damn it. So I could, don't even start with me. No, but
I will
Mary
start with
is
you, Mel.
Mary is just like, she's like, just do it. She's like, I really need some growth. I'm like, okay, I can do that, right? I will cooperatively play games with my friends. I just do. That's how that's how it rolls. That's how I do.
It
I was
took
like,
her
okay,
like
no big
3
deal. I'll
days to
just
catch up so she could play in our worlds.
yeah.
3
Let's not even
days.
talk about that.
yeah.
Okay, so look,
And then
look,
from there,
I currently have the highest world level out of all of us.
yeah.
Two,
I have tried to get back into it because I want to play with them, but at the same time, I will be sitting in a call with them and they'll start talking about fan theories or lore and I will just tune out. Nothing against them, because
Valid.
the game has such an amazing elaborate story in all the different areas, because like Mondstadt has its own shit going on. Inazuma has its own stuff. Sumeru both has two different stories between the desert and the jungle. And it's so amazing. But then
Yeah.
in the exact same breath, it's almost too much when you are trying to throw yourself in as deep as both Mary and Shal are, and you're trying to catch up, and it gets overwhelming so quickly.
Yeah.
And I just keep dipping because I'm just like, I am never gonna.
but you
I
can, because like at this point, like
what's
you
really
can catch up. You can.
you say that I have not touched the game. You keep logging in for me, man.
Okay, look. It really like I see. I can like
You
the
can't
things
even
that you have
defend
problems with, like the
yourself.
extension. No, the things that you have problems with, which are like the domains with it. That with the exception of the like, story ones, like your ascension quest, I don't have any problem doing. I I am so bad. Okay, all right. So I am so used to the combat in this game, for lack of a better way to put it. I'm so used to the combat in this game that when they have the trials with the characters, with the exception of the most recent character trial, which is Baiju, because you need to use that for the Dendro to work. I literally just stay on the main character and do it, and I have completed one of those little challenges where you have 18 to 23 enemies that you're supposed to kill in that domain in 30 seconds.
I've done that too.
Now, that was with Ayato. I now know that is going to be somebody I am going to have to pull for, because like I need the Hydro user. But legitimately, I am really good at that combat style. Like I love live action combat like that. It is actually my sweet spot when it comes to pieces. That's why I like Skyrim so much, is because it wasn't static and you didn't get turn based. Um, Comparatively, I'm enjoying Star Rail, but it does do turn-based combat, which is a little bit less enjoyable because I like being able to move.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah. I think that's why I haven't gotten into Star Rail, is because I know it's turn based and I'm just like, nah.
Turn-based is
But
funny. You guys ever played XCOM?
Ooh, yeah.
It rings a bell, but I don't think I've played it.
It's a
Yeah.
turn-based strategy game with permadeath. It's fantastic.
I mean, like my first RPG ever was actually Final Fantasy VII. So You know,
OG,
that
not the
was,
remake.
yep, the original one. So, you know, I'm used to turn-based combat, and I know how to. Mm, I I'm very good at finding ways to expedite the process. Is probably the best way I will put it. But I
Yeah.
prefer things
Why
like
are you
Genshin
listening?
because of the fact that like I can move around and I have a lot of freedom in my character selection. Now,
Yes.
what I will admit is that unlike most other players who have a particular character that is not the traveler that they main, my main character is always the traveler. I always have a party with the traveler in it.
I do too.
So that is
Mine is
something
the
that
husband party that you have. I
yeah,
think
no,
that
I've
one's
got
the only
the
one that you don't have the traveler in. But yeah,
well, that one was specifically made for one particular boss to expedite that because hate I hate those fucking bishops.
I think
They
what
can
draws
die in a fire.
I think what draws a lot of people into Genshin, or even away, like, because don't get me wrong, Genshin is not the most amazing game out there. It's not the game that did it first or anything. I think what
yeah,
draws a lot
Yeah.
of people in is the how many different stories between just characters, areas you're in, different events you can do. Um, but what like it's also like because I don't know if Breath of the Wild was the first to do the cooking mechanic like it is. Um, it's the first game I played like that, so for me it's the first. Um,
Yeah.
but it brought a lot of stuff from Breath of the Wild that I fucking adored.
yeah,
Where you got to, and in Breath of the Wild you got to build your own house. In this, you have your own teapots that you can decorate and fuck around with. You have so many different characters and NPCs. I mean, because an NPC in Genshin isn't just a random NPC; it's a character you're actually able to learn about. Like in Mondstadt, there's a girl who's making wishes and throwing coins into the fountain, and
Yep.
then when night changes, her brother's there trying to pick up all the coins so he can afford her medicine. Um,
Anthony. Yep.
and
Anthony.
then Catherine's a fucking anomaly. Well, we're not going to talk about that here. Um,
yeah,
and
Oh
then
yeah.
you have the little girl who runs the flower shop who is trying to find
Laura.
ways to preserve them. And the blacksmith will send you on quests. There's one guard that likes to ask you questions during some quests, and it's like
Juan.
each
yeah.
one are like these Jally's here saying their names because she knows them all. And it's something like that. It
Oh.
just adds. And then what I think it's Tommy, the boy on the bridge, that's just so
Oh, the
sad
pigeon.
whenever the pigeons fly away, whether you're walking or crouching or whatever, no matter what, those pigeons are going away. And just the first time I met him, just I was like, why'd you make them run away? Now it's just like my dad. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Wow.
yeah.
Yes.
No, there's a lot like even characters that you think are just fun and cute. Like there's a lot that goes into them. The amount of backstory that's in the actual gameplay is ridiculously amazing, and the fact that you
There,
can go through each of the characters and get their backstory is kind of cool.
hmm there's actually like we were talking with an NPC. There's one in Sumeru, and she's my favorite NPC. And like you find out that she's like really
Oh,
sick and like everything, and so you like
Zinzaha.
during Yazard, yeah. And you go through this whole story with her because she's like part of the main Argon quest for that region. But she's not a playable character. She is a fucking NPC, and she's
Unplayable character. Yeah.
amazing.
They've
I
taken
mean,
I
it's
know they've taken some I'm sorry. They've taken some characters who were originally just NPCs and then have turned them into playable characters. So I believe there's one that just came out on the current banner, Baiju, right?
Aiju.
Baiju
Who
was already planned to be a playable character, but
but
they
that's
just didn't have the mechanics for him for a really long time.
but
Yeah,
see
'cause
that's
he's
the
Dendro.
thing though, because even because he was an NPC, and if you don't go into Genshin lore as deep as Shal and Mary do, you're not gonna know that he was planned to be a playable character, right? And no offense,
True.
ladies, but like I
That's
didn't.
okay.
I don't think any of us in this chat knew that until you said it.
Well,
Um,
the interesting thing is you can tell the NPC characters that they aren't going to switch over to the regular ones is because they have a generic face. And that kind of sucks. Which is what makes me think the doctor is probably going to eventually be a playable character. You know what? I will get him to throw him off Dragonspire.
and it's funny because, like,
That's the
you
villain.
get all these different playable characters, and like you love some of them, you hate some of them. I despise John Lee. The ladies love him to death. Um,
I don't think
I
we've done a character
No,
quest
what does he
yet.
do to you?
I think there's one person that we all hate together, Amber.
Yeah.
You know what?
I don't.
I
I don't
I
hate her.
Fighting
I don't
wise,
like
she's
her.
amazing. Her squeaky, oh my
I
god, we're
would
gonna
not
go
be able
around
to
and we're gonna do
say.
this. I hate her voice. That's the only thing. I can't stand her
gosh,
voice.
yeah.
That sounds
no,
more like
that's
Paimon than anybody else. And
That's a
can,
now I've
Paimon
barely
is a
played
whole nother
Genshin.
ballpark that we're
oh
fucking
my
leaving
gosh.
alone until
I
another podcast tomorrow. Because the emergency
ah
food is so fucking annoying.
There's
I
actually
ah
really
another
like
character that's
Paimon.
voice I find more annoying than Amber's though.
Who?
Fischl.
ah
See, I can get over Fischl
no
just
I
because
like
of the bird.
Fischl.
I
Oh,
like
no
Buzz, but I just don't
I
like her.
can get over Fischl just for the bird, and I really don't hear her talking that much.
oh my god no just play with her enough.
That's the
Yeah.
thing, though. I don't play with bow users, and she's a bow user.
Yeah, that's
My
true.
Yeah.
my things are. I mean, you both know fucking Dea and Delu. Oh my god, Dea and Delu.
Yeah,
Just I realized something that I'll
yeah,
talk to you
yeah, yeah.
ladies about
Yep.
later.
Um,
But like,
But yeah.
oh gosh.
you know, obviously we could sit here and talk about this game or any of the games that we've listed today forever. I am
Mhm.
gonna rein us
We
in
really
just a little bit because we
days
have
at a
been going
time
for an hour and a
for a
half.
lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, all of these games, all of them have their drawbacks and their like some things that like annoy people. But then like you can't help like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is an amazing game. Tears of the Kingdom is an amazing game. I don't like how quickly some of the weapons break in either of them, but I'm specifically
Yeah.
talking about Breath of the Wild for
My
this one
god.
because Tears of the Kingdom lets you do the fusion thing, which lets you kind of strengthen them up a little bit. So I'm not
Fusion?
gonna complain too much about that here. But like, and then one thing that everyone hates in Breath of the Wild, the rain because of how much you can't climb and shit. But then you have Horizons and like the inventory space in the first game it annoyed people, but they fixed that in the next game. You have Assassin's Creed where you have um the parkour mechanics drive some people mad, but then at the same
Yeah.
time, like the story is amazing and what you are able to do is great. So it's lovely to hear like just what you're able to do with all of these different games, and kind of where everyone stands on them. I mean, I will have to say that open action RPG is one of my favorite genres ever.
Yeah.
RPG games are just amazing. I mean, we talked about some of them
Yeah.
last time. But I think at the end of the day, they're one of the. No, I'm not gonna say better games because of course I have other games that I love them, all of these, but it's one of the most fun games I've ever played. Right?
I
Just
agree.
any of them. Do any of y'all have a closing statement that y'all want to do?
No, just catch our podcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. EST. I think that's 8 p.m. Central. Is that correct, guys?
9 p.m. EST,
Eastern
8
is
p.m.
8
Central,
Central,
and
Okay.
7
7 Mountain,
p.m.
6
Mountain.
Pacific.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
I live in mountain
we're gonna.
time.
We'll definitely be we'll be starting off that podcast with definitely the Traveler and kind of some lore surrounding that. So I will do a spoiler alert on that particular one because um that's a lot to cover and some of it
Yeah.
will contain plot pieces that probably span all of the current nations.
In all honesty, if y'all don't want to be spoiled on Genshin, our podcasts are probably not for you.
Nah,
'Cause
their
like we said,
podcast is not free.
like we
Yeah.
said, it's crack theories and talking about lore. So there's gonna be lots of spoilers if you've never played the game. So
Yep.
if you don't want any spoilers, this is not the podcast for you.
Boys,
Yeah,
is there
so-
anything that y'all want to say if we're closing?
Horizon is one of the best games ever made.
I mean, it's all right.
Horizon is understandably quite up there.
It's a very good game. The little I've played of it, I need to play more.
Overall, I do believe that is where
newest
we're
DLC
going.
that just came out, it had a bonkers ending to it.
I do believe that's where we're going to end this one. Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching. I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, or night, or whenever you're watching this, both on the YouTube side and on the Twitch side. And please, in the comments, let us know other games and stuff that you want us to talk about, or genres of games. Because this is not only games, I will say this is not only a podcast for games that we're talking about. We'll eventually start talking about crazy shit between YouTube videos that we watch or movies. Like we might do a thing where we just go through like
Fandom.
fandoms as well. Oh god, that's gonna be a situation. I have one plan that I think would be fun of us going and like watching like the like Troom or like the 5-minute craft videos and just talking about
Oh no.
what
God,
situations
no.
would actually put you into
Ah.
fucking using those items.
Oh,
Because that's
Oh my
just such
God.
a fun idea and y'all can't tell me it's not.
it is. That'll be interesting.
God.
That's not for a while though. We have a couple more topics to hit
It's
before
gonna
we
be the
start.
shell injury scale at that point. The likelihood of me burning myself.
But you know, guys, if you have something you don't want us to watch or want us to look at, please let us know. We are even willing to I won't say 1,000% willing to look into books, but we can even talk about book book what's the book types? What's the genres? Thank you.
Yeah,
Book
genres.
Yep.
different book genres and cool things that are in all of them. Thank you, driving. And
That's my
just
favorite
all like
web
there's
novel.
so much that we can do here on Shenanigan Frenzy. But we all thank you so much for watching and hanging out. Do let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and we hope that you enjoy. And see you on the next one next Sunday. Ta ta.
Bye.